Welcome back to Country Basket Weaving. I'm your hostess, Sandy Atkinson. The basket we're working on today is our Joseph sewing basket. It has a potpourri lid. Your material and cut pattern for today is as follows. You'll need 3/4 inch flat, cut 8 pieces 32 inches long and 9 pieces 31 inches long. You'll also need some 1/4 inch flat and some number 2 round. With number 3 round, I want you to cut 68 pieces that are 35 inches long, and you'll need plenty of dyed reed, and have it dyed all different colors because this is a Joseph basket, and of course he had many colors in his coat. I've already have mine cut, and I have the centers marked on the wrong side. Use your spoke weight, and you're going to line up your centers with your center line up, and that means your wrong side is facing up. I'm not going to worry too much about spacing right now. I just want my centers lined up. That's important. You have 8 pieces that you're going to lay out with your centers marked up. There we go. Now come in, and I've got mine all soaking and wet and all my centers marked. On your first piece, I want you to mark your center, again on the wrong side, lay out your tape measure and mark 4.5 inches on either side of the center, so we have a total of 9. You just need to do this on your first piece. Then you're going to weave these pieces over and under, starting right there across your center line. Just a basic pattern, basic basket weave pattern, over and under. That's what I'm trying to say. And we're going to line up our centers. Our center will be with 4 on each side. Next, we're going to come in and take our 1/4 inch flat. Just messed up the pattern a little. I want the edges to line up here on your mark. The outer edges of the outside reed will be lined up there. Taking your 1/4 inch, you're going to weave this piece over and under. Give yourself some length. Over and under. The opposite weave of the first row that you already put in. Come back, and if you messed up your pattern, line it back up and pull this row up tight. I like to eyeball a lot, so come in here, and this one's a little too close together. Bring this edge over and weave it the opposite of the row of 1/4 inch you just put in. You have to end on top. This one came out exactly on top. Take this one over here and weave it. Watch your guidelines here. It's going to weave right on top of the piece you just wove in. This is really a bad piece of reed. Can you see how that's all split? If I had the time, I would take it out. I would tell you to take this out and replace it. I'm going to go ahead and use it for time's sake. But it really does need to be replaced. And I'll do that later. Come up here with the same 1/4 inch flat. I'm going to switch ends because it's a better piece at the other end. And we're going to weave this one over and under. I want to leave my spoke weight on yet because I want it to hold it down for me. Right side, wrong side on the 1/4 inch does not matter because we're going to do that turn, which is going to bring up the other side anyway. And we're going to weave this piece back, put a crease in it here. Make sure your outer edges are on, following that guideline. And weave back. We have to end on top, so we're going to cut it there. Bring this one back. Put a fold in it over on this edge and weave it back. Right on top of the first piece you put in. I'm going to move my spoke weight now, so these will bend up for me. And again, I have to come over here and cut it and tuck it under here so it hides that in there. Now you're going to come in and take your other piece and weave this one over and under, opposite of the row of 1/4 inch that you put in. And you're going to pull that up. Now be careful these corners, these edges don't start tapering in. Come up here and put in another piece up here. Line up your centers, draw it down tight. We don't want any gaps. Be real careful at the corners here though that you don't pull these down so far that they start going crooked. Make sure they're going out straight. Another piece 1/4 inch. Start with a flat end. I have a bad end here, simply cut it off. I'm going to weave this 1/4 inch the opposite of the 3/4 inch that I just put in. Give yourself some length on either side, pull it down tight. This one will go under and put a press in it. Weave it back. I need to cut this off on top, so I'm going to stop here and trim it back. Put a press on this one, over and under. It's going to run right on top of the piece that, the first piece I put in. I'm going to hide it under here. So I'm going to cut it there. Cut it the longest possible length you can cut it. Gives it more stability in there. Take out another piece and weave on the opposite side. Now that it's got some rows, it's going to stay in there for you better. And the weaving will go much quicker. Bring this one back. Remember, you have to end on top. Takes me there a little long. Trim it back. Fold this one back. Weave it right on top of the piece that you just did. And we're going to trim this back here. Weave in 2 more rows. This will be woven in the opposite of the row you just put in. And that's your 1/4 inch. Pack it up in there tight. We don't want any of our needles and threads falling out of this basket. So that's why we've chosen to put a closed bottom on it. And pull it in tight. I'm going to do the same thing again. Some more 1/4 inch. You could use 3/16 for this instead of your 1/4 inch, but remember that's going to make your base a little bit smaller because those fractions add up with each row. Bring this one over. I want to end on top, so I have to end here. This one's going to fold over and weave right on top also. Just a little bit long, come back and trim it. I don't want the end to show over here on the opposite side. And we're going to weave this one in. And I'll do this very quickly. Come in here and trim. I'm not going to have enough time to finish this whole base out, but I do want to show you twining. I want you to end your rows with the wide reed. That's important. End your rows with the wide reed. According to the pattern now, I have 2 more to add, but so I can get to the twining, I'm going to go ahead and go on with my twining. But you be sure and put those remaining rows in your base because this isn't nearly big enough here. To go with your twining, this is where you need your number 2 round. You're going to take and have 2 different end lengths. I have 2 different end lengths here. Taking your needle nose pliers, put a crimp on it. Remember that makes it bend without breaking. I'm going to start up here. I like to start on an under, away from my corners. So I'm going to start here because I'm going to weave this way. Just keep in mind that I didn't complete my base. Be sure and do that. Starting with the one on the left, I simply loop this over one of my spokes and make sure it's an under spoke. Starting with the one on the left, you're going to go behind the next empty spoke. That makes this one on the left. You're going to go behind. This is a regular corner. This one's simply going to pull over here, and this one's going to go behind. Give your basket a turn. The one on the left goes behind. Always the one on the left behind. Pull this one down, hold it with your thumb to make sure that you're going over that piece. And I'll do another corner for you. And behind. Now, if I was to pull this piece down, see how it slips under there? We need to come over here, take this left piece first, take it around, and then bring this one around. Go right back on your pattern and keep on twining this one right out. Now, I've already finished the weaving on this base here. I'll show you how to end up the twining. Here I am here with my twining. Remember, I'm holding this piece down, going around with the left, the next empty spoke. I have to do my corner exactly the same way I did it the first time around. On this one, can you see how these two are together here? That's wrong. I need to come in with my left one and go around first, so they're fitting like this. Then bring this one over and keep right on going. I've got my 3 rows. This is where I started here. So I'm going to weave up 2 here. I don't want to weave here. I'd be starting my 4th row. Just leave these pieces on the inside and we'll trim them back later. Now we have to upset our basket, which is simply bending up the sides, taking clothespins and hooking your 4 corner pieces at each of the 4 corners. Don't forget to upset the pieces in between your 4 corners. Bend these up. Now we're going to start our pattern up the side, and it's just a basic pattern weave, basket weave pattern. I'm going to start with a yellow piece. There's really no pattern for colors. Just use your imagination. I've come up here. I'd like to go back to my base. This piece is under, so I'd like this one to be over. Kind of slip it under here. That'll help hold it. Make sure the right side of your reed is out, facing the outside of the basket. Undo your corner. When I dye reed, I like to dye up a lot of reed so that I have it to use on different baskets that I work with. And these are really scrap pieces I have left over from all the baskets I've worked on previously. And I'm just leaving an over-under pattern all the way around. Undoing my corners when I come to them. Putting the corner back on until approximately the 3rd or 4th row. There's nothing to hold that row there yet. Some of the dyes that you can use, RIT dye works. It does dry out the reed a little bit. There are basket dyes on the market today that are beautiful. I actually don't follow the pattern or the formula they give you on the back. I like to set my dye with either a handful of salt or a cup of vinegar to make sure it won't run. So you can do that with your dyes. Remember, I'm hiding this end under there. Always hiding my ends. I'm going to clamp it there. I'm going to give it a turn and start my next row on the opposite side so that I don't have a lot of bulk buildup there. Make sure my right side is out. I'm going to pack this row in, clamp it with a pin to hold it. Pack this row in. The first row is sliding up, so use your second row to help push it down and hold it in place. Again, clamp up your corners. Always start on an over too. That's so that your ends will hide. There are a lot of natural dyes that you can use, things that you have right around your house, such as golden yarrow if it grows outside. Onion skins, I know you have that around your home. Simply soak your, I take hot water and pour over my onion skins and put my reed in to soak. Some things you may want to make a little bag to soak with the reed. It's coming apart here, just put it back together. Black walnuts, the outside, the pod, the outside shell, that works fine for dyeing reed. Now this end is slipped out, so I'm going to give it a little tug and hide it back under here. I want to make sure that this end is hiding under that reed. Put my corner back on and go around my corner. Pull these down tight. Blueberries make a good stain. You know, anything that'll stain your hand will stain the reed. So try blueberries, beet juice. That gives a real pretty color. Try different things. Kool-Aid is one. I had a student come in and tell me she used Kool-Aid. And I can imagine that would stain the reed too. Come up here, I'm overlapping 4, cutting it off here, and hiding the end under there. Now, on this basket, I had put 3 rows of twining. I had done a 1/4 inch here, some pink 1/4 inch, and a light blue 1/2 inch, and then I did some twining. On this one, I want to show you a little different pattern. I've taken 3 long pieces of dyed number 2 round, and I've braided them together. So I'm going to put this row in here. Give your basket a turn. The colors, don't be too concerned with your colors. Blend a lot of colors in, make it really pretty. And I'm simply going to weave this over and under. Weave that around, weave up the top of your basket. You need about 2.5, 3 inches at the top to turn. So be sure and save that. When you get up to the top, here we go, I want you to do 3 rows of twining. Whether it's out of natural or dyed, it doesn't matter, but you have to have these 3 rows of twining at the top. Then you're going to tuck each one of your spokes in. I've left 2 on this one to show you how. Coming inside of the basket, I'm going to skip over my twining. Then this yellow row here is just too close, so I'm going to come down here and use my screwdriver, pick up these pieces, and tuck that in. And I'm going to have to tuck this one also, skipping over my twining, tuck down into here. Lift it up with your flathead screwdriver. Push it down in there. There. Okay, now we've got our tucking done. I'm going to shape this basket a little bit. Now, this is where those 68 pieces come in of your number 3 round. You're going to take 2 of them together. Using a knitting needle, starting up here at the top and starting anywhere, you're going to open up your twining at the top and insert 2 pieces together. Just go up a little ways, move over to the next one on the right, taking these 2 together, make sure they're right together, side by side. You're going to insert the next 2 here. Pull out your knitting needle, line your tops up here, and give these a pull. They should not be twisted. On this basket, I like to do loops, so I'm going to have this row hit right on the top of this colored row here, and then the other one about halfway in between. That'll be good markers, because we want our loops all the same size. Taking 2 more pieces, you're going to insert these 2 right next to the far right 2. Go up so far, line these up, make sure they're side by side, no twist in them. Open this one up here on the right and insert the next 2. Come up here, line up your ends and give them a pull up. Come in here and pull up the center one just a little bit shorter. Now these are going to slide on you, so when we get them all in, you can go back and adjust these loops again. Continue all the way around the basket, adding all those 68 number 3 rounds, and it's going to take you a while to do that. But just spend some time on it. When you get them all added, you're going to look like this. And this is not a mess. We've got this figured out here. To start the first part of this loop, starting anywhere, you're going to straighten out these 4. Make sure that they're nice and straight. Come to the right, straighten out the next 4. And you're going to go behind 2, so we're going to straighten out the next 4. So you've got 3 all straightened out. Take the farthest one on the left and go behind those 2 and out. Straighten out these again. The hardest part of doing this braid, it's not a hard braid to do, it's just keeping all these 4 layers straight. They need lots of time, so plan on spending time on this basket. See how they need to lay one on top of the other. Come over here and straighten these back out. Straighten out the next ones. Take the one on the far left and go behind two to the outside. One on the right, on the left is going behind two, going to the right to the outside. You can see how this is just going to take some time, but it's worth every minute you put into it. It's a beautiful, beautiful braid. Go ahead and work this braid all the way around the basket. Just like I'm doing here. Okay. Work the braid all the way around. Let me do just a couple more and then we'll go back and I'll show you the second part. Need to go just a little farther. Watch that they all are the same. Watch your loops, that you don't pull up too tight on them and mess up your loops, because I'm assuming you've already straightened them out and have them even. Then you're going to go all the way around the basket. The last ones will come up here and will go in the second hole over. And you may have to put them in one by one to get them straight. Okay? Now the second part of this outside braid is to pick up two ahead of you. I've still got three. Taking the one on the far left, you're going to pick up the two in front of it and go right underneath in that hole and pull it through to the inside. You'll have to come back and straighten out those four pieces, make sure they're laying right on top of each other. Straighten out the next four, pick up two pieces to the right and go right in this hole here and pull them through. Come back, and again you're going to have to take your time, straighten each one of those out, but work the pattern the rest of the way around the basket until they're all worked in there. At that point you will look like this. When I get around here, here's my last two. I'm going to pick up this one. My hole is here. This one here is already tucked in. So my hole is right there. I'm going to slide in those. You may have to work them in a little bit. The ones on the inside may get in the way. Again, make sure they're laying side by side and pull those through. Come back and take a minute and straighten them out. My last four are going to come in here. You may have to come up under here, and it's going to go right there. I'm over two, always over two. And there will be an empty hole there for it, just waiting for it. And pull it through. Come back and straighten up those pieces. Then we have our outside done. The inside braid is the very same braid, just done inside the basket. So starting anywhere, and you have a lot of strands in here, so straighten them out. Make sure your four strands are straight. You're going to go and pick up the next one and bring it out, and the next one and bring it out. I'm going to make sure they're laying side by side. Going under two, I'm coming up behind two, and now I'm going to be straight out. Pick up the next set. Go behind the next two with the one on the farthest left and straight out. Again, I can't emphasize enough on having all these strands lay side by side. If they don't, it's just not worth the effort. It just isn't pretty to see them all tangled. Come behind here. I picked up two. I'm going behind two and to the outside. Come in here and pick up another set. Spend a couple minutes straightening it out and going behind. Pick up another set. Straighten them out. Come up and behind. And again, you've got to work this pattern all the way around the basket. I'll do a couple more. I'm not going to take the time to go all the way around the basket, but I'll work out a couple more and then show you how to do the last step. You're going to come up behind here. If you notice inside my basket here, I don't know if you can see at the camera or not, but down in here the basket is very moldy. In high humidity weather and even in the winter time inside your home, if you put your basket away under something, cover it up so it can't air dry, it's going to mold, such as this one has done. What I need to do is take it home. Now I have the colors in the side, so I have to be very careful, and take some bleach water and scrub this down, and some of it will come off, but not all of it will. So then I need to stain it. Now I'm going to come back here to the second part of the braid. I'm going to pick up the two, come inside here. Now make sure again they're laying side by side. Go behind that second one and slip it to the inside. Pick up this one here, which is my next one. I have one out of line here. Let me get it back where it's supposed to be. Okay, I pick up two, go behind two, and insert it in that hole right down in there. Can you see that hole? And make sure you go back and straighten out all your rows so they're laid side by side, all these little pieces. Picking up two, I'm going to go behind two and right down into that little hole. Go ahead and finish tucking in these all the way around the basket. Take your scissors when you get done and trim them off. Don't trim them too short or they'll pop out on you. Next time we get together, we'll be working on our lid. It's our potpourri lid, and we'll look forward to seeing you then.